Hi everybody, my name is Gregory and welcome back to the Secondhand Club. In today's video I will be ranking the watch brands from top to worst, so let's get into it. So there are quite a few videos out there of people and YouTubers and watch experts that are ranking watch brands from top to worst and good and bad. But I think they're using brands like Invicta, Gucci, which we know already are trash. So I just wanted to basically reconcile the best watch brands, the true watch brands that are out there and worth talking about, and basically give you a rating from top to what I think is worst. Now, this is my only opinion. If your preferred brand and favorite brand is and falls in the bad or worst category of what I choose, doesn't mean they're bad. It's just I think they're not either worth the money or worth having in the collection. So let's get into it. So I went on that website and have all the brands here. So the first brand I'm going to have to choose is basically Vacheron Constantin. I think Vacheron is a great brand. It's one of the oldest watch brands that is out there. They have an iconic model which I think makes the brand really thrive and survive at the moment, which is the overseas with iconic design. They have beautiful blue dials. It's personally not a brand that I would choose to have in any of my collection, because if I look at the big four, which we're going to talk a little bit later, Vacheron always comes last to me. So for me, it's a brand that I approve, but it's not something that I would consider great or top, even though they have fantastic movements. So I would put Vacheron in the approved brands to have in your collection. The next brand that is falling, it's all coming up randomly. So the next brand that is coming up is Hublot. Hublot for me directly into worst. Worst because it's a brand that was brought back by Jean-Claude Biver from the 1980s, and Jean-Claude is just a marketing genius. But the brand itself, ever since he left, I've gone completely wrong, and whatever design they come up, the colors, the combinations is absolutely horrendous. Price point wise, it's one of the worst investments you can make in today's market. So I basically put it in the worst. One funny story about Hublot is a few years ago I was looking for a job in the watch industry, and I was giving my honest opinion about what I think about Hublot watches. And the human resources came back to me saying they would decline my application because I was not talking positively about the brand on social media. So yeah, no, now I'm free to speak and give my opinion about what I think, and I really think that Hublot is not worth having in your collection. Sorry. The next brand that is coming up is Omega. Omega, I put them directly in the great. I think they're not trying to be who they're not, and it's a great watch brand. Historical pieces like the Speedmaster, the Seamasters, absolutely great timepiece to have in your collection. And if you wear this, people know you're a watch geek. The next brand that is coming up is the Philippe Dufour. So Philippe Dufour is an exceptional watch brand, not only an exceptional watchmaker, but he does only a few pieces per year. And it was one of his pieces was recently sold for over 7 million at auction, which makes him the most valuable wristwatch from an independent watchmaker. So if you don't know Philippe Dufour, I highly advise you to read a few articles online. There are quite a few nice stories about the man, but he's considered one of the best watchmakers alive today. The next brand is Akrivia or Rexepi. They do very few watches per year. I put it directly on the top. Amazing watches, amazing finishing, very good style, very own DNA and design. The founder used to work for a brand called FP Journe, and he went on his own a few years ago, and it's extremely hard to get on the wait list to get one of his pieces because he makes very few a year, but it's definitely a watch worth having in your collection if you have the funding. Next watch brand, now we go all the way back to the lower end of the scale, is Jacob&Co. Not only they're overpriced, but I really think that it's really bad watch. I absolutely don't like what they're doing. I mean, they might put some fancy diamonds to raise the price and do the billion-dollar watch, whatever they want to call it. For me, it's trash, and I put it in the worst. I know it's advertised out there by some watch YouTubers and influencers, but please, if you have the money to buy a Jacob&Co, kindly advise to invest it in other watch brands that are real watchmakers. The next watch brand that I will talk about now and rate is the Panerai. Panerai used to be, I think, a great watchmaker. It's still a very good brand, iconic brand in the watch industry with a good past in history, a great tool watch. I would have a few years ago put it in the great category, but I think that what happened over the last few years, the new releases, releasing limited editions from watches that have been released in the past, or I just think that they're kind of losing it. So I'm not going to put them in the great section, but I'm going to put them in the approved section. Panerai, get your things together. I have, by the way, a video coming about Panerai with 2 vintage Panerais that are coming to our showroom very soon, historical timepieces, and I think that's what really Panerai is, tool watches that are solid on the wrist, and that's what they should go back to. So please, Panerai, if you ever see this, please go back to what you're good at. The next brand that is coming up is FP Journe. I have a particular affection for the product. I put them directly on the top for now. They are extremely hard to get. If you already own a Journe, you might have better chances of reaching out to one of the boutiques and get on a wait list for a model. I think the wait list is at least 2 or 3 years from now, but if you're on a list, be patient, you'll get one. But it's definitely a watch not only for as a good investment, because they all go above retail value, but a good timepiece as well. The next brand is Rolex. Rolex directly on top. It's one of the leaders of the industry. I think they're really forward thinking and making things move in the industry. That's how I started in the watch industry, by working with Rolex in Switzerland, and I really think that they are one of the leaders. Great solid watch, whether you have 1 watch, 20 watches, 5 watches, having a Rolex in your collection, you can't go wrong with it. The next brand here is Tudor. Tudor is a sister company from Rolex. I will put them in the great category. It's a solid movement, great value for the money, absolutely worth having in your collection. Next is Patek Philippe, which I put directly on top. Nothing, I mean, everybody knows Patek Philippe, nothing to say about it. They do have fantastic watches, fantastic movement, historical timepieces. It's obviously one of the good investment to have in your collection and to pass on to generations. Next is Cartier. Cartier, I would not put obviously in the bad or so. I would not put them in great either. They're, for me, to my opinion, Cartier is considered a jewelry brand nowadays, even though they have a great history with watchmaking. I don't think their watches with high complication is worth it. I love the tank solo, but I would put it in the approve. I think having a Cartier in your collection at some point speaks for itself. It's pretty cool timepiece, but I would not put it in the top or the great. For me, it's a brand that I approve. Next is Lange. Lange, I would put directly on top. I spoke about it in the last video with a review of the Lange one. Absolutely love the story behind the Lange, their manufacture, as well as the quality of the movement and timepieces. It's absolutely top of the knot. So I would definitely put them in the top category. Next is a brand that has a lot of history into watchmaking, but is not really appreciated out there nowadays, is Blancpain. I personally approve Blancpain. I will talk about it in a future video about a very special Blancpain that I have. which is a flyback chronograph in red gold for under 20K. You can, if you look well, you can find some extremely well valued timepieces with great designs with Breguet hands and absolutely lovely design for the money. So I would advise you to really look into it if you are passionate about technicality and the beauty of movements. They do incredible timepieces, so it's definitely an approved brand. Then we have a controversial brand because a lot of people like this brand. I personally don't dislike them, but it's not something that I'm crazy about. It's Grand Seiko. So I will approve it because I think the price point for what you get for your money is absolutely great. I would not have a Grand Seiko in my collection, but I know a lot of you out there who would and have. So I definitely approve the brand. I think, you know, they're not either trying to be who they're not. They're very well positioned on the market and great value for the money. So definitely approved. The next brand is Bulgari. Bulgari I would also put in the approved section, not only because I think it's a little bit like Cartier. They're a great jewelry brand nowadays. Nevertheless, I think that what they're doing with watches, especially the Octa Finissimo, is absolutely gorgeous. Great timepiece. Tim, if you're watching this one day, I know you have one, so congratulations. Yeah, beautiful watches, but for me, not in the top tier of the watchmaking industry. Next, we have Tissot. Tissot I would put directly in the approved section. It's a very good beginner's mechanical timepiece if you're new to watches. Then we have Laurent Ferrier, which comes as well in the independent watchmakers, and for me, in some of the top watchmakers in the industry. They do very few pieces per year too, but they're known for very exceptional finishing, minimal design, high-end complicated watches, so definitely in the top tier of the watches. Next, we have MB&F, which stands for Max Busser and Friend. Max Busser is the founder of the brand. He used to be an executive for many other brands, including Harry Winston. He's done a lot of good things for the watch industry. His watches are not for everybody. They're coming with very special designs, with crazy ways of telling time, but there are incredible machines on the wrist. So mechanically, you can't go wrong with MB&F, so I would definitely put them out there. I advise you, if you ever go to Geneva, to visit the Mad Gallery. If you like anything that is horologically related, definitely a stop to get out there. The next one is IWC. IWC have, as you know, a great affection for the brand. I think that they're not in the great section because of the few releases that they've made in the past few years, which for me are a little bit controversial and not really understanding where they're going with a smaller big pilot. Hopefully they don't lose their DNA, but I absolutely love the brand. Next week they're coming to Miami, so I'm gonna do a stop there and see what they're gonna do in their booth. Next brand is Chopard. Chopard for me is one of the few brands that can claim that they do everything in-house. If you ever have a chance to visit the manufacturer, you can see that they do everything. They guide you through the entire process. But for me, it's just bad. I mean, in terms of design, money-wise either, I mean, I don't feel like the watches are worth what they're asking for. I would stay away from their watches, even though I like the Mille Miglia, the vanilla scent on the strap, but come on, it's not worth what they're asking. So for me, I just put them in the bad category. Next will be AP. AP is one of the leaders of the industry, iconic design with the gentle design of the Royal Oak. Definitely a must-have in your collection. Great investment as well. They're going for way above retail, impossible to get in the boutiques, but it's definitely a watch brand that is deserved to be in the top tier. Next is Breguet. Breguet for me, I know it's not appreciated by a lot of people. It's not all over Instagram, but I absolutely love Breguet. Adam Louis Breguet is, for me, the best watchmaker that ever lived. It's an historical brand, and I absolutely love their design. For me, it's definitely a brand that you should consider having in your collection at some point as a dressy watch. I love the Tradition collection. Next is TAG Heuer, that I put directly in the approved section. For me, that brand is a little bit like Tissot or Grand Seiko. I think that it's a great value for the money as well, and a good step into collecting watches when it comes to luxury timepieces. So if you're looking to get your feet a little bit in the water with stepping up from a brand, for example, like Tissot, I would advise to go into a tag heuer, like a Monaco would be absolutely stunning. I think it's an historical piece from the brand, and you can't go wrong with that. Just don't buy it at retail. I think you can find a good deal online or through someone like us. Will help you source a timepiece and save you a few hundred or thousands of dollars. Next is Piaget. Piaget, I absolutely love the Altiplano, but I just don't get the rest of the product. I'm just going to put them in the bad section. Then we have Zenith. The Zenith for me is considered a great watch brand. Zenith Al Primero is one of the best chronograph you can find out there. Absolutely great value for the money. Historical manufacturer, still in the original building. Absolutely worth every penny. And you have some iconic vintage models that are out there that are absolutely stunning. So definitely Zenith I would consider having in the collection. Next is Breitling. So Breitling, a few years ago I would have put it in the bad. My wife used to work for Breitling, so I have a particular affection for the brand. I will put them in the approved section. Like I said before, I think George Kern has changed the brand significantly. And I think they're heading into a good direction with the new releases. Just don't copy Patek, please. But you're on a great way, and I think that Breitling is a great value for the money as well. So I'll just put them in the approved section. Next is Jaeger-LeCoultre, Jaeger-LeCoultre, like we say in French. I'll put them in the great category, like Zenith. Beautiful manufacturer to visit. Beautiful watches, love the reverso, and I have a few Jaeger-LeCoultre watches that I want to introduce to you in an upcoming video as well. So I'll definitely put them in the great section. I think it's a brand that has been not respected enough and not talked about enough, but it's definitely one of the best watchmakers out there. And to finish, we have Greubel Forsey. Greubel Forsey is one of the most expensive watch brands you can find out there. I put them directly on top because they're known for incredible finishing. They spend hours and weeks finishing movements of each of their watches. Absolutely stunning timepieces, very expensive but great timepieces. I voluntarily didn't put Richard Mille out there. Richard Mille is crazy prices as well, but for me I would put them in the bad or worst because they're not timepieces for me. I think Richard is a great marketing genius, but please, if you have hundreds of thousands to invest in a watch, please don't go into Richard Mille. Invest it in a brand like Philippe Dufour, Journe, Patek Philippe, AP. Your money will be well better off in one of those brands than sitting on a piece of plastic that is Richard Mille. So that wraps it up for me. If you need any help to source any of those watches, I'm happy to help. My email is in the description below. If you like watches, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know as well which brand you would have put and where. And if I forgot any brand, please let me know. I'll be happy to do a new edition in the few coming months or next year. The giveaway is still ongoing. We are dropping a video every weekend on Sunday at 12 p.m. Have a great week and see you in the next episode.